This is the newest introductory space that CoSpaces has created, and is actually a whole lot better in teaching you the basics. And so it says, welcome to CoSpaces, rotate your view by clicking and dragging. So we've already talked about that from the other one. You just click and hold and pull to move around. You hold the space bar to move the view. So you hold down the space bar and I can pull the screen around. And then it says scroll to zoom in. So you scroll in and scroll to zoom out. So now it wants us to turn the corner. So I'm going to hold down the space bar, kind of move the screen over this way. And I don't get to, it's not centered on there, but I'm going to then let go of the space bar and kind of move it around this way so I can get myself centered here. So now it says select an object to display basic object controls. So you can just click on any of these objects here and you will see these three basic controls. So this one is its rotation. We talked about this in the last one. There are three different ways that you can rotate an object, and X, Y, and Z axis. So you can click and hold and pull on those axes to change the angle of your objects. And then you have your elevation. This is how high or low it is in the air. When things are rotated though, you will see, I'm going to change my angle here a little bit for you. You will see that the house is actually lowering itself into the ground, and that's because it's at such, the axis is actually going underneath the stage. So that will happen depending on your rotation. And then the other one is size. So this one you click and hold and pull, and it makes it bigger as well. So those are just basic commands: rotate, elevation, and size. Then they want us to keep going. So I'm going to rotate around, hold spacebar so I can keep rotating. And then it says to double click on the object to display the inspector. We already talked about this, double clicking and changing the color of anything on the screen. And then they have us making one with a fence now that we're supposed to fill in the gap. So we hold Alt and click, and then we drag and we fill in that fence just like that. Then we move on to the next one, where I'm going to look at some of the more basic things in our library. So we talked about boring background, change it in the environment tab. We've already looked at this, where we can change the time of day it is. They just have like a plain background here. We can also change it to the mountains around us if we wanted. So it looks, and then again it changed that stage color to that green color for the grass. If you look in the library on the lower left, you can find objects, drag and drop them straight where you want them to the stage. So here's our library. If I wanted to add a snake to my scene, I can just click and hold and pull and drop it right in there. And then I can zoom in on it. If I get rid of my library, and I can zoom in. One of the things that it happened when I first started experiencing CoSpaces was I would click on an object and it would put it really far away when I would just click on it and enter it into a random spot in the drawing. So I really am a proponent of clicking and holding and then pulling it out onto your scene, so your object that you just added doesn't go really far away. This person is locked. You can lock things in place. So if you're going to share this with others, you can also lock them into place. You can find figures in the library. Then it talks about going through and deleting some of the text boxes because these birds are too loud. Delete their speech bubbles. So we just double click on that speech bubble and we exit out like that. Double click, exit out, and they're all gone. Now the birds are quiet. And then these leaves, again, we'll talk about this. With pictures that you're going to add from the internet, they need to be PNG and also what's called a transparent background so that we don't see any white borders around it, and I can show you that in another video. Let's keep moving around to this side. And this is, find the 3 dots, 3 line symbol on the left side of your screen to open the Scenes tab. There you can find the next scene. So this one, they have made multiple scenes, and you can do that as well in your scenes. So sometimes if you are going to do, let's say, a story, then you can have students make multiple scenes from a story, and then they can be all played together. And then down here we have something called markers that can be used as decoration, or they can actually be signs like this one here. They can just be text that's floating, and that is also in the library under graphics. There is what they're talking about. So that's basically back to the first one, and then we can go to the second one. And it says there is the camera object. Press play in the top right corner of the screen to test it. So anytime you want to kind of preview what your viewers are going to see, you can click play, and it will show you what it will look like to all of the people. So viewers will change their scenes this way. And then this is what a viewer would actually see. If I go back into our mode, though, and I change the scene, this is what it looks like for us as we're editing it. This camera doesn't seem like a lot, but what the camera allows the user to do is actually move throughout the project. Wherever you put this is where your users will start, so we started out looking at this frame right here. So it will start with pointed at that spot, and then the user can change their view and then use the arrow keys to walk around this space. So if I hit play and I go to here, we talked about here's this, and now I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard. I am moving, but I'm only moving in one direction, so if I wanted to move this direction, I would have to then change my angle with my mouse, and then I can change my angle and walk at the same time. That's a bit of a complicated step if you're not used to using your mouse and the keyboard to play. This is more game-like to me. And then we can actually walk in here and see what these people are doing just like that in their control center. And then the third space is all about advanced techniques. And these are where we can attach all three of these animals are attached together. The dog on top of the camel on top of the elephant. And they teach you how to take the dog and attach it to the camel. So we can click attach, and then we attach it to the top of the camel. And now these two are attached. And then again, we double click here, attach, and click to the top of the elephant. And now they are connected as they were before. But the really cool creative stuff comes with the next part that they're going to show us, which is actually designing your own items using just simple shapes. So this tree was created, is not actually an object in the library, it was just created with shapes, some circles and some cylinders. And so it's really whatever your imagination can make up using the shapes. And they kind of gave you a tutorial, and then they said, try to make your own tree in this space as well. And then they also built us a robot that you can ungroup all the pieces. If I double click, you can group pieces together, attach pieces or ungroup. And now we can see each individual part, and we can kind of move him around and see what was actually used for each of those pieces. So that's their second tutorial. That's a lot better, and I really recommend this one. This one's also in the gallery by default right here, and it's also in a couple of different languages as well for you to go through. And so if you ever want to experiment in a safe space, I definitely recommend coming back in here on your gallery, clicking here and copy to my spaces if you want a brand new one, if the one that you got when you first made your account is already kind of messed up or you've already worked in it. So on to the next video for some basic creation of a blank space.